So it's almost 6:29. Can we start now or should we wait a little bit more?
Please start at 6:30 with the permission of Mr.
Little bit more, sir?
I think we
Please
can
start
wait
at
for 1 or 2
6:30.
minutes.
Yeah.
1 minute more.
Okay, sure. Okay. We should start now, sir.
Yeah, let's start.
Yes. First of all, I welcome everyone today to the final members forum of CMA of FY 2023-24. You see, it's a Saturday evening, 6:30 p.m. and people have joined in. It's a wonderful thing I can see, and we have an interesting topic today. So I think we should start today. And before that, I'd like to say that this is our 10th members forum, like starting from May 2023. This is our 10th, and we have had many speakers. We have had a good audience, and this is our final members forum. So Mr. Roy, you are special for this one. So before I'll be now introducing Mr. Prabir Roy. He is actually an executive in engineering and management professional with international experience in North America, Asia, Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia. He is a subject matter expert in management, leadership, development studies, soft skill, and project management. With 30 plus years of experience, he has a varied employment history, which starts from Assam Biorefinery to Shell International in USA, Shell Petroleum in Nigeria, Shell Eastern Petroleum in Singapore, Bharat Petroleum in India, and many more. He had also conducted trainings and seminars in Shell International USA, Shell Petroleum Nigeria, and Bharat Brunei and Bharat Petroleum, Institute of Mechanical Engineers, and many more such places. He had played a pivotal role in Bharat Petroleum, Assam Biorefinery, and he has driven operational excellence, managed global projects, and expanded businesses. So his focus is on safety, sustainability, and profitability that ensures success amid industry challenges. So And as the theme says, that it's cultivating a culture of safety, integrating behavior-based strategies into project management. So, Mr. Prabir Roy, we welcome you to our members forum. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me
Yeah.
see whether I can share my screen.
Yes.
You said that I'm very important today.
Yes,
Okay,
sure,
let's
sir.
see.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, yes, it's totally visible.
Okay, let me see if I can start my video. Okay.
Yes, everything is fine, sir.
All right. Once again, thank you.
Yes,
Good afternoon, or rather good evening.
yes,
For this webinar, I would like to call it as on a behavioral based safety. Uh, Before I kick in, just a few points I would like to say is that we are doing this program through internet. So we are using technology. So due to any reason, if there is any technical glitch, just don't panic.
yeah.
Definitely, we will come back and
After
try to
COVID, we have
complete this.
had, yes, we are all used to this thing, sir.
We are all used to it.
Yes,
We were conducting many a times. We did webinar with from during this COVID time with Africa and all this outside. Suddenly the power will go off, and then people
yes,
will come back and say, "Are they there?" And it took time. So I
yes,
just I would like to retaliate. I would like to say that if there is any technical glitches, please bear with us. We'll come back to you, and we'd
yes,
like to share whatever this small session we have today.
true.
As we go along this program, if there is any questions or if you like to share or if you like to share your opinion or your experience, you can stop me at any time. You feel free and you can share or you can ask questions. You can it could be a pointed questions. Don't leave it till the end of the session. You can always
Yes,
ask at the end of the session, but in between any time you feel like telling something, just give it a shout and we will like to hear and try to see what best we can answer. Um,
and the
there
chat
is
is
some
open.
videos.
Yes,
Sorry.
anyone wants, yes, the chat is open. Anyone wants to have any question, they can write it down. I'll just refer it to Mr. Roy once he's on the floor.
Right. That's great. That's great. There is some videos here. I do not know. We did a trial run in the morning for the video, but let's see how it goes today. If it doesn't go well, you're not missing anything. But sometimes pictures and videos does give a good message, and it gives a feeling that you have really understood something, or gives a message much more than just me talking or showing some slides. So the point is that when we go ahead, you try to reflect on it or you try to observe certain things. And the best thing is that we talk to each other. This is definitely not a classroom that I'm coming here and giving a lecture. That's not the objective. The objective is let's share and try to understand each other and try to develop each other. Okay. I hope you can hear me. All of you can hear me. Give me a
Yes, 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 sir.
just say yes in the chat, and the slides are clear. Just say yes in the chat. Right?
It's audible and it's visible.
All right. Great. Great. I think we are good. Okay.
Yes.
So what? Let's see if it is working. Oh, what's happening? Why it's not moving? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So today's objective is to really understand workplace safety in the workplace. What does it mean to get an awareness? A workplace means it could be your home, it could be your garden, or it could be a park where you're walking around. Or the more I see in Calcutta roads, it's a place that we need to be more about safety. What will be this webinar objective is also to share the knowledge of behavioral based safety, because this is now A very hot topic nowadays in all organizations. They more emphasize on the behavioral based safety so that it improves the safety. You see, when once the safety is being considered as also the more safe your employees are or more safe your people are, you will be more productive. So there is a link between it. And so now this behavioral based safety is really very, very important. So your takeaway basically is to try to understand what is this BBS and how do we implement that. That's the main thing. But I will just touch upon it because this is a huge, huge subject and it's a huge exercise by itself. When we try to implement in one of the offshore platform or in an organization, it took a lot of time and it has got its own processes. But I will just try to give you a glimpse and understanding of how do you implement it, and then what are the challenges you face while you're implementing this behavioral based safety process. Okay, as you just kick off, if I'm going very fast or if I'm going very slow, let me know through the chat so that I can lower the speed. What we are talking today is safety. As we know that, especially the Indians, the safety has been taught to us not today. It has been taught to us. Many of you will be knowing that in 5th century BC. You know when it was taught to us first? Uh, it was taught to us during the Ramayana time. You know, you must have heard this story that how Sita was taken away. And you must have heard of this Lakshman Rekha. So this is basically a safety that was taught to us in this Ramayana time. And it has gone through all our generations after generations, the story of Ramayana, the Sita being taken away, even after drawing the Lakshman Rekha. So it is nothing new to us. Safety is nothing new to us. But somewhere along the line in our generation, we have really not picked up on what this safety is all about. Why there are a lot of stories there in Ramayana which tells us a lot of things. And this is one of the very, very powerful story that when you don't cross the Lakshman Rekha, you are safe. That means your hazard, which has a potential source to cause harm, is not coming into your life. That means the hazard which can cause loss of life or injury, or sometimes it can have serious impact on health. So keep it away from you. So because safety we will try to define as to protect oneself against what? Against any sort of failure, against any sort of breakage or any sort of accidents. So that is what this safety is all about. And that is what the Lakshman Rekha is all about. And safety is very, very relative because eliminating risk, even if it is to the maximum level you go about it, it is sometimes very extremely difficult and it can turn out to be very expensive. So there are some theories which you must have heard is that you have to start eliminating the hazards. You need to substitute, either you go in for substituting of the hazards, put in engineering controls or administrative controls, and lastly, the PPE. And it goes in that process. Whenever you are designing anything, in your work front, if you can eliminate the hazard, that means there won't be any case of any incident or accident or injury or will not have any health impact. And the last, if you have seen, nowadays I see in India people wearing at least wearing a helmet. You know, that is a protection of the worker's head. Apart from that, I have hardly seen, even in factories or even in construction site, that they are proper PPE is used. It's still not there. At least in eastern part of India, or when I've been to Assam or other places, even the PPE or the personal protective equipment is not up to the mark. DG Fastly is what is DG Fastly? Is a Director General, Factory Advice and Labor Institutes. You know, in the year I could get some statistics. It's not the latest statistics, but some statistics, it says that around 1,000 deaths in a period of 2016 to 2020. So around 1,000 deaths have occurred and around 4,000 injuries. And the major chunk of this is coming from construction workers, which is around 24% of fatality. This is a very serious, for any advanced country to talk about these statistics. It's very, very alarming. But we are living with it, and we are not really pushing the safety forward to that extent that bring down injuries, bring down deaths, bring down any sort of health impact, sometimes environmental health impact. We are still not there. We don't have the latest data. What we understand, and if you search many factories, they do not disclose the safety data. And another major issues in India is that a major chunk of people are working in a most unorganized companies or factories, which is also not very good, because they don't keep any statistics. If any injury happens or any deaths happen, or any health impact happens, they just try to hide it. So the real data do not come out very clearly. So this is not a very good sign, because if you see every 24% of fatalities coming from construction site is definitely not a good statistics. So what does a worker do? Anytime a worker comes to an industry, he always have a desire to go back home safe. Anybody, be it an executive, be a CEO, or be it even the last person in the organization, he feels that he will come to work, he will go back home safe, and he wants to work in a protective environment. And it is the responsibility of that organization to ensure that we give them an environment which is safe, because safety is the key factor in order to promote wellness, and it motivates the people. If they are healthy, if they are feeling that they are taken care, then they feel more motivated to work, and it brings high productivity both for the employees as well as for the employer. But there is a huge challenge, in the construction side, because the client will have his own cultural procedures. He will have his own culture, safety culture. Some client, I've been to companies like L&T, then I've been to as a consultant there with L&T and Hindalco. Their safety culture is very strong. Whereas if I go to some another smaller organizations, the safety cultures or the procedures is not to that high level. So what happens is that the contractor who comes in, he also has his own safety concept. Can you see the slides, complete slide? Are you able to see the complete slide?
Yes, sir. It's completely visible.
Okay, no, I hope it's not hiding anything, huh?
No. I
All
can
right.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is
All right.
visible.
So, okay, thank you, Sunil. So the contractor who comes in to work in a client factory or project site, he has his own safety concepts, which may or may not match with the client safety requirement. And then the contractor who then gives to another subcontractor, he comes in with his own safety culture. So you can see in any particular organization, be it a factory, be it a construction site, there are three conflicting safety culture is prevalent. So that is where the challenge comes in. And the worker, the subcontractor worker may be working in one particular site. Within the next month, he goes to another site, to a different client. So, and he faces a different safety culture there. So his mind is getting confused. What exactly the safety is all about? Because hardly he has been given a proper training. So he gets confused. His perceptions, his behaviors, and the environment keeps on changing for the worker. And as a result of which, this is a huge, huge challenge. So, so we need to understand this behavior of the person. Why, in spite of telling them that you wear the last line of defense, which is PPE, they don't wear proper helmet. They sometimes then wear, because what happens? He moves from one organization to another organization in a very short period of time. He may be doing working at a height in particular project site. The next month or the next to next month, he may not be working at a height. So he completely forgets the the safety that has to be brought in, even when there is a change in environment, change in perceptions, and the behavior keeps on changing for these type of people. And that's a huge challenge for the safety workers and for the client to drive in, to push in the safety culture. If it is a very strong safety culture our organization has, to drive in, they find it huge challenging. Because what happens, the moment the supervisor is standing there, the client supervisor is standing there, the person will actually do the safety requirements, like he'll wear the helmet, he may wear the safety shoe, may wear the coverall. The moment the person works out to go to another site, you will find the same worker is not wearing a helmet, perhaps not using the gloves to do any particular action. So this is where the challenge comes in. So let's reflect on this. Let us see if whether you are watching, when you watch this video, is the video working?
Yes, sir, it's working.
Okay, good. Some lifting arrangement is going on in an electrical project site. These are actual real life. It's not a movie, but this is a real life picture taken. You can see the people going up. It's a rainy day. Suddenly somebody is going in and tying in a rope. And see, you can see number of people. The number of people working is hardly 2, 3, but 5, 6, or even 10 people are just watching it. Anybody would like to reflect on this video? Would you like to share something on this video? Would you like to discuss on this? This is a typical site in India. Number of people are observing. Hardly people working 2, 3, but the major chunk of the people are just observing, or neither not giving direction, not giving any way of doing it. Anybody would like to share or your thoughts on this video?
This is actually, sir, what we see everywhere in, like, whenever there's a rain or, a thunderstorm or something, trees have uprooted and electric lines have, dispersed. Something of this has happened, then we kind of see these things happening in the city, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Good. Appreciate. Appreciate. Anybody else would like to share?
Anybody else?
Nobody?
So you continue. If there are questions,
Continue.
Yes.
Okay. No, I would just like, anybody would like to reflect on it. That what is there anything? Okay. Nobody. Shall we continue?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. I hope it's not too heavy. It's a bit heavy subject, but I'm trying to make it very easy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now we go to a topic which is a behavioral based safety. So before we go in, a little bit of history that when this behavioral based safety has kicked off. In the year 1930, there was a person called Herbert William Henrich, and he started studying the accidents because he was working in an insurance company. He started studying the pattern of accidents that were being reported, and he concluded that 73% of these accidents were due to man failures. And 83% of all accidents, injuries, and illness are caused by the worker's error. This was his analysis, and that he came out in 1930. But he could not go further that why exactly is this accidents or injuries or illness was happening to this worker. And then further studies went on, and the year 1975 or so, Dr. E. Scott, he took all these figures and he coined the word as behavioral based safety, BBS. So BBS, which is the first line of defense, it is a more proactive approach for enhancing workplace safety by focusing on employees' behavior. That means we have to understand the behavior, the factors, which is underlying factors that influence them. So the more we understand the behavior of the person, we will have to change their behavior, then they will become more and more safety conscious. The primary objective of this behavioral-based safety is to identify and then slowly, steadily, over a period of time, modify unsafe behavior. Why? To prevent any accidents or injury to that person or to that workplace. So behavioral-based safety is very much scientific method. And by this method, you will understand why that person behave in the manner they behave. So behavioral safety is changing unsafe behavior to safe behavior. So how do we go about this? Try to reflect on this. Can you observe this person? What do you observe in this? Can somebody reflect on it? Anybody would like to share your idea of what you see? What do you observe?
We see a family, sir. A family cycling.
Okay, that's a part. What else?
Okay. Everyone has helmets.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you can see a family riding bicycle or cycle in an empty street, practically, isn't it? In a backyard of a housing society, isn't it? And the most important that all of them, the parents are wearing helmet. Is a very good observation you did. I hope everybody is observing that. Similarly, what do you see here?
Same, sir. Everybody has a helmet again.
Okay, so what anybody else would like to share?
Yeah.
What does it tell? What does it tell you? Try to reflect more on it. What does it tell you? Okay, everybody is wearing a helmet, but what does it tell you?
That I mean, we should be wearing helmets. If like even if it's a cycle, everyone is wearing a helmet, which is
Okay, everybody should wear a helmet. But what does it? Can you reflect something? There are certain is a family. What does it tell? Think about it. It is telling that the parents, the leaders of an organization must also do the same what you want to preach. Okay, I can tell my children or your subordinates or your person juniors to wear helmet, but you don't wear it. It will not work. Look at our style of cycling. These are actual pictures. And it's a busy road. People are enjoying cycling. Look at the difference approach. Safety will never come to us unless we ourselves really understand what it will bring to us. Okay, so this is a time to reflect, to see that what exactly we are telling our children. People going in motorcycle, in bike, many a times. Now I see many of them are wearing helmet, but few years back, very rarely. Okay, let's move on. Anybody else would like to comment? Okay. Very silent. I don't know whether it is interesting or not. Very silent.
No, I think mostly students and they are there. Maybe they are listening. I mean, this is a topic, sir, which many of us are not very accustomed. So we are just learning from here, actually.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now think about it. Think about yourself. How do you go about it? All right. So now behavioral based safety is there are in an organization, there are three aspects, One is an organizational, another is a behavioral, and the third is a psychological. To bring in zero harm. Zero harm means zero accident. There won't be any incident. There won't be any accident in an organization. And there are organizations who do zero harm. So let me tell you, internationally, I've seen them. They are doing zero harm, and it's a very hard process. And but it is achievable. It is possible. So from the organizational point of view, you will find in any organizations, there are rules, procedures, policies, regulations, organizational structures, systems. They are in place. In many Indian organizations which I have worked or which I've been visiting for consultancies, I see all these are there. They are perfectly very, very good. Procedures, rules, policies, very well documented, very well signed. This is not an issue. But the problem comes in the hearts and mind, whether your employees and employer, contractor and subcontractors, from the last man in an organization, whether their heart and mind are linked with the behavior to bring in zero harm. This is the challenge. This is a huge challenge. And you will have to understand that how people feel about safety, unless and until in an organization, in your place, in your house, in your home, if your attitudes, your beliefs and values are not linked together, you will not be able to bring in zero harm. Your hearts and mind are not linked. So what people do and say, that means your behavior, your decision making, your safety leadership. I was in an organization, my last safety organization, uh, there was a fatality. And once the fatality took place, there was initially a panic. But as the day passed, within third day, fourth day, I heard the CEO telling that we are lucky this person is not from the local community. He's coming from very far off. Such type of statement from a CEO of an organization is very damaging. It gives a signal that your attitude, your beliefs, your values towards your employees and your employer is not to have zero harm. That means the hearts and the mind are not linked together, which is very important for an organization to have zero harm. Just having procedures, rules, policies does not mean that you are having zero harm. Zero harm means no accident, no incident, no injury, no health impact, no loss of life. So this is very important. So how do we bring about a behavioral so that it will have a daily action while in your workplace or even in your house? I think there's a chat there. Is there anything? Sorry.
No, no, sir, there isn't. I mean, I'm
Okay.
looking.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's continue. I thought there was somebody is asking something. All right. So,
So just a second. I have unmuted the microphones of all the participants. So if the participant wants to ask anything, you may raise your hand and then you may be allowed to speak. That is okay. So if you want, means
Right.
we
Okay.
will be requesting the participants to be more engaging in that.
Okay. Good. Good. I said anytime you can stop me and we can answer that. Okay. So what are the basic principles of behavioral based safety? Let's go to a very basic stuff. So we need to understand that there are three things. One is an antecedent. Antecedent is what? Is nothing but a preceding event. All right. It's something like you hear a pressure cooker whistle, you know that your mutton or your chicken or your food is cooked. You know that is an event, and then your behavior changes. Either you go to the kitchen or you switch off the gas or you lower the gas. So that's your behavior. And what's your consequence? That anytime you hear a whistle from a pressure cooker, you will have that same behavior what you have done. So this is something like very basic uh, of behavioral based safety. So any conditions, any environmental change will change our behavior. So you have a phone, you get a phone call, you pick up the receiver, and if you are in a corporate world, suddenly you hear your HR telling that you got a promotion. You suddenly become your behavior becomes changes because you be very happy, and you will try to do the same thing repeatedly, the same way of working, increase productivity so that you get repeated calls. So that's a behavioral and consequences. Sometimes when you see a safety sign, many a time I've seen in India, I've gone around NTPCs or any organization. I will not like to blame any organization. I've seen a lot of safety signs, but people just the behavior just is either they are not ignoring it or they want to challenge the policy. So there's a behavioral changes. So the safety signs or the red signal in a traffic tells us to stop, but many a times I see they just people jump. That's a behavior of a person. So what is the consequences of that? Behavior has consequences. Either it will reinforce or deter a behavior. If that means the more positive behavior you are getting in, you will try to have more and more of that same behavior. In the means, it means that suppose you get a promotion or you get an increment or you get a rise, your behavior will become more and more positive. It means that a positive reinforcement ensures safe behavior. It is very the child be very happy. So this is a positive reinforcement. Child is a negative reinforcement. It will it's do he may not uh, same. It will have an unsafe behavior comes in whenever there is a negative reinforcement. Telling us is that we need to bring in more and more and more positive reinforcement to enforce safe behavior. It is more to that, but this is some of the basic principles. So, in an organization, in your house, in your home, the more you praise, uh, see, like if I see here, if you praise your wife every other day, you will get better food. It is something like that, you know. So, if your employees, if you are not praising them, not giving positive reinforcement to bring in safe behavior is sometimes more challenging. So there are three distinct elements of behavioral safety. The first one is human attributes. What is the human attributes? It's nothing but knowledge. Do you have a knowledge of working in an electrical factory? Do you have the values, the skills, the abilities, intelligence, and above all is attitude. What is your attitude towards working in a safe environment? So this is very important. The first element is human element to what do you know about the job? Whether you have been told that what are the hazards that are associated with it, what are the potential source of harm it can cause if people don't tell them, but you have to keep your employees informed that what are the sources of harm. So what can I do about it? So if you are a supervisor or you're the CEO of the organization, what can I do to work so that the work environment becomes more and more safe? There was a question asked during in an organization, public sector organization, that a contractor who comes to your organizations to work in a, say, a boiler working or a pump repair or any other repair work, who is responsible if there is an incident or an accident or a loss of life happens? Initially, when we were talking around 5 years back, that is 2016 and 17, the person said there's a contractor. Let me tell you, any person who comes to your house to work, it is the responsibility of the CEO of that organization to ensure the person goes safety. He may be a contractor, he may be not directly employed to your organizations, or he may not be directly from your house, but it is the responsibility of the client to ensure that the work is safely done and the environment is safe. Work environment, which is very important, that whether proper tools has been given. So these are actual pictures taken in a work site. You see the helmet they are wearing, you see that there is no proper PPE, somebody is wearing slippers, moving around, which is not good, which is definitely calling in for an incident or an accident. Tools, machines, procedures, whether it is indoor and outdoor. If you are walking at an outdoor in a hot Indian hot climate, whether enough drinking water, whether any breaks have been provided or not. Many a times, at least when I move around it, I find it is not. They work extended hours, lengthy hours, and as a result of which fatigue comes in and an incident or an accident can take place. The third is a behavior. We need to understand what people do and why do they do this. We, in mostly when I'm talking of we, is an Asian part of it or an Indian subcontinent people. We are attracted to negative behavior. You will find that we get very much happy to see movies which are in negative nature, too much of war movies, too much of movies which has got negativity in it, and get attracted towards it. Negative actions are very much glorified. All the news channels, uh, uh, they are all glorifying negativity. Somebody is done serious uh, breaking the law or not doing as per the morality of the people. So all the news channels, all the movies, all the newspapers, all the WhatsApp today, all the WhatsApp, we are glorifying that, and we love that. That's what this Indian subcontinent group, we are talking all the time. Anybody giving long lectures are glorifying negativity. So many a times when we ask, so what are the impact of this? So what is the result is coming out of it is that we are not reaching good quality output. And whenever we are asking about the workmanship, the response is, oh, this is good enough. You will find that very often. And nobody is going to say it. It doesn't matter. These are the things and we get so used to it that we assume that this is what the best we can get out of it. Because our behavior has become into that pattern that we are so much used to getting substandard negative actions that we get whatever substandard, we are very happy with it. And as I moved around, and I've seen there is a larger minority of the people are continued to work in a risky situations. They love taking risk. You will find even in the childhood days, not major chunk of the boys and girls, but a larger minority people, they love to take risks. And when they take risks, a slight miss here, there, they lead into injury, health impact, or sometimes having serious loss of life. Lastly, we push the envelope. What does it mean? From the childhood days, not in my childhood days, but nowadays in the childhood days, we are pushing the child to that extreme limit. What it means is pushing the envelope is that you have a project site and it has been said that it will be completed in 2 years. Okay. You do your planning, you do all your homework, and it says it will be done in 2 years' time. But by the time of 6 months, the head or the authorities, the clients start pushing it. No, instead of 2 years, you have to complete it in 1.5 years. By the time 1 year passes, there is a huge push to make it completed, say 8 months or 6 months. Many construction sites I visited in my local visit the site. The resident managers, they say that this is what we have been told. And when this is happening, our behavior changes. When our behavior changes, we don't look towards the risky situations. And that is when the accident or the incident happens. So these are the three distinct elements of behavioral safety. Are you with us? Is everybody with any questions you would like to ask? Anybody would like to share something? Or is it too heavy, or is it not pertaining to you? Anything you would like to reflect on?
I think people are very absorbed in taking up the whatever. I mean, I think there will be questions at the end of the session, sir. I think let's
Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Right. Okay. Good.
yeah.
I hope so, but I hope it's not too much of
So far, so
taxing.
good. So far, so good. Go ahead.
So far, so good. All right. I hope
Yes.
you're getting it. All
Yes.
right. Good. Generally, we have an interaction type of session so that we can talk about it. All right. Good. Let's move on. So now this is from the corporate point of view. If you're in an industry, in a corporate, behavioral safety cannot stand on its own. There has to be serious leadership towards behavioral safety. He has to physically show, he has to be a part of the behavioral safety program. He has to move together. He has to be physically present. His visibility should be there. Complete engagement, coaching, each and every individual. When I mean coaching, till the last man in an organization, be it a subcontractor, contractor, even a person who does the house cleaning, he has to be coached. He has to be communicated. And last 2 point is, how do we measure that? I will talk about it, but I will not go into much detail. There is a measurement that is the behavioral change is happening or not. There are scientific methods of measuring. And definitely you have to give recognitions, because as we have said, behavioral based safety is nothing but a scientific method, and more positive reinforcement you are giving, that means positive recognitions you are giving, there will be a change. It has been scientifically proven. Even with your child, you can see, the more you are recognizing that person, be it a boy or a girl, the changes will definitely take place. Okay, I don't know, something came up. Is a poll quiz or something you have came up with?
So yes, sir, it's a poll.
Just to make people little more engaging, we have launched a small poll of 3 questions. So let's see
Okay,
if they
good.
are engaging in that.
Okay, good. This is great. This is simply great. Okay. So these are the 6 pillars in your house. Also, you can implement this in your house environment. Leadership, that means your father or your elders must engage with your grandchildren or children. Engage with them, coach them, communicate them, which is very much missing nowadays. I find proper communication to the children. I showed you the picture that a family is riding a bicycle. The parents are also wearing the helmet. That is a method of communication. It's not only talking, it's demonstration. Here's your behavioral. Whereas in our side, nobody communicates with them. Communication means effective communication, and it is sometimes physically demonstrating them is also a way of communication. So be it a factory, be it your house, be it your friend circle, be it even your puja pandal. How are we getting engaged so that safety, the work is done in a safe manner? So any one of them is missing, if you are not measuring it or if you're not coaching, it will not have any impact on behavioral. Any one of them, if it is not there in an organization, in your house, in yourself, it will not work. So the elements to be used in the combination, when you're coaching, you have to do engagement. Your leadership has, even sometimes a CEO has to come and give coaching. So to demonstrate that he is serious, he has to be present, his visibility should be there. So that's what, any one of them missing, it will not have any impact on behavioral based safety. It is a very serious, very tedious, very tough when you're trying to bring in a behavioral change of a person, and more so for a group, more so for a subcontractor, more so of a persons who are not aware of what safety is all about for the whole life. Suddenly, at the age of 20, 30, or 40, suddenly people start telling, oh, you have to wear a helmet. So it requires a lot of communication. So when you're going in for this program, it cannot be just a flavor of the month. 1 month you talk about it and you just forget about it. It cannot be. And there is no magic bullet or any shortcut that you take a tablet or you wear a helmet and that's it. And your behavioral based safety has worked in. It doesn't work that way. So it's a whole process which I'll go into it now, and I will touch about it. But it's a very tedious exercise by itself. Okay, let's understand this. I'll go a bit slow. Okay. So how do we install habits? Now we are talking of changing a behavior. Now we are talking of inculcating an habit. All right. It is very easy when we say, but when we understand this, you will say it is not a very easy one, but definitely there is a method, and it is a scientific proven method. Okay, let's see. See, all of us know that there is a prefrontal cortex that is in the front of the forehead. Okay, all human being has that. And it is a very important part of our brain. This is in the front of it. It's just after this forehead, behind that, it is called a prefrontal cortex. And what does it do? What is his objective of this prefrontal PFC? They call it, the doctors, they call it PFCs. The neuroscientists, they call it PFC. What does it do? It works on the behavior. It controls your behavior and your impulses. It develops your personality. That how the main personality of the person is depending on your prefrontal cortex, how it is wired. Okay. So it has the ability to plan. It has an ability to solve problems. You'll find there are certain persons who can solve problems very well, who can make long-term goals. That means their prefrontal cortex is very well wired, very well developed, very well activated. And it is able to consider many streams of information. That means as you puncture in with a lot of information, now in this today's Google world, there is an AI coming in. There is so much of information coming into our brain. Where does it come in? It comes to prefrontal cortex. And if you have developed this prefrontal cortex, it is able to consider many streams of information. So this is the one which controls the behavior and the impulses. Okay. It does calculation. It does logic. So it's very important. So the more we develop this prefrontal cortex, our behavioral will change. You will find as a person grows old in the age of 80s, 90s, the behavioral does not change. But science has come out and said that it can be changed. It is possible. Previously, they used to think that no, it cannot be. A person has reached 70 years of age or 60 plus years of age, it cannot be changed, but it is not so. Science research have proven that if you develop your prefrontal cortex, it can change your behavior and control your behavior and impulses. And this is where you have to work. When you're talking of behavioral based safety, this is where you will have to work. It is not easy, but this is where you will have to work. You know, brain cannot understand safety. You keep on telling the person, be safe, be safe, be safe. They don't understand. The brain don't understand what is the safety the person is talking to me. The contractor or the subcontractor with not much developed pre-context, but they don't understand. That is why when the supervisor moves from the site, goes to another site, he just removes his helmet and just start working. He will not wear his hand gloves or he'll wear his slippers and just move around because brain, even if you have told them be safe, brain do not understand. This is the uniqueness of the brain. What you have to control the brain is to control the behavior of that person. The limbic system in the brain is just behind the PFC, prefrontal cortex. It's just behind that. That is called the limbic system. It is a very complex network connected to the brain structures, okay, which regulates various aspects of human behavior and emotions. The PFC sends signals to limbic system, and which controls the behavior and the emotions. And they are tightly connected. That means limbic system and PFC are directly connected and very tightly connected. The more you develop PFC, your limbic system will be developed and it will be able to process memories and it will motivate you to move in the behavior you want to do it. Okay? Because it regulates the human behavior. What is it that is changing our behavior? These are the two things in our brain, PFC and the limbic system. That is where our human behaviors and emotions are taking place. And the research scientists, I mean the neurologists, you talk to any neurologist, they'll say the behavior can be changed. Even at any age, even in an adult age. That is why you'll find a child, when a child is born, more informations are flooded and more behavioral comes in. And later on, unless we keep on developing our PFC, the child, when he becomes an adult of age of 20, 30, 40, does not change because the PFC has not developed, is not developing further. There is a saying that once you start reading a book, say within 1 week, as you keep on reading, you can read a book within 2 days or 3 days because you're keeping on developing yourself. All right. Now, how do we install habit? That's where your behavior comes in. That means we understood that PFC and limbic system. That means there has to be a change in the brain for growth and reorganizations. The more we change our brain, there will be growth and reorganizations of our system. Unless we change that, we will keep on talking about safety and safety and safety or any changes. It will not happen. It cannot happen. It will never happen. So installing a habit installation has a process. A little bit more detail is that the power of the brain to learn new things and adapt to new situations is endlessly amazing. You know, a person, when he is living in, say, in the eastern part of India. The moment he goes to a western part of India or even go to Middle East, where the climate changes, the brains has got an ability to learn new things, adapt to new situations. It's so amazing. So what is it that is called? It's called the brain plasticity or the neuroplasticity. So what is the neuroplasticity? It has the ability of the brain, to bring in new changes. The neurons are doing what? Which is there inside the brain, are sending signals. This is very interesting. In your brains, there are a lot of neurons which are talking through a method called synapse. And they are talking with each other. Talking in the sense they are sending signals. It's not verbally talking. It's sending signals to individual target cell. All right. And how does it go about it? It says that as per the neurosurgeons, they will say is a snipe. This is the method of snipes. They are talking to each other or signaling to each other. That is why, because for each individuals are different, there is no two human being in the whole universe have the same connections of neurons. They don't have. Even a child, what do you call jomoj means? How do you call that in English? Jomoj means twins born. You will find them two different personalities. Because what is it that is happening? The neurons are not connected the same. Even though they are twins, even a few seconds different, but still the neurons are different. So what you are telling basically is to connect these neurons towards safety. Connect these neurons. I'll give you a simple example of this. If there are three persons, Ram, Sham, and Jodu. Okay. Ram is talking to Sham, but Ram is not talking to Jodu. That means your neurons, which is sending signal to that cell, is talking to Sham, but not talking to Jodu. Means if you develop your brain to have that neuron send signal to Jodu, it will start talking directly. So this is where your behavior will change. That is what is called brain plasticity. I hope this is neuroscience, but a little bit I hope I could explain in a very layman's term. So neuroplasticity includes learning new skills. The more you learn, you will acquire new abilities. The brain undergoes a circuit and network changes. And its brain adapts based on your external factors. Like I've given an example, a person from Assam or the eastern part of India goes to a Middle East, it changes, his brain changes. That means he's connecting new cells, telling us, oh, it is very hot now, you have to adapt changes, you have to eat something different. This is where your personalities, your behavior, ability to plan, ability to work in a Middle East environment, your changes. So that is where your neuroplasticity in the brain that is taking place. More and more of repetitions, more and more of practice leads to structural and functional alteration. I'll give you an example of this. You get up in the morning, the first thing you do is you brush your teeth. This has happened over a period of time from your childhood. Your parents have told you that is what you have to do. That means serious repetition, serious practice leads to this structural and functional alteration. So now they don't have to tell you, you do it on your own. So that is what your neuroplasticity does in your brain, and your behavioral changes accordingly. Neuroplasticity, which is happening inside your brain, is also stress can impact your brain plasticity. Because if you have too much stress in your work site, it can have impact in your brain plasticity. What is this means? I've talked about the last one. We push the envelope. We're pushing a child, so it will have stress. Too much of studies, too much of pressure. No, you have to get 100 marks or 90 marks. It's a pressure. It's a stress. it will have an impact on brain plasticity. Similarly, in a work environment, complete the work which was planned for 2 years, you want to make it in 1 year, there is stress. And that is where you try to do shortcuts, and it impacts your brain plasticity. And the research has revealed that many aspects of the brain are plastic, even in grown individuals. That's what I said, is that even when at the age of 70 and 80, you will find they are developing themselves to new skills, new ideas, new methods of doing it. And it is possible. It is, science has proven that, neuroscientists has proven that you can do it. It is not that it is impossible. It's a process. I will go into that. We have broken down the process, but it is possible. Developing brains exhibit high plasticity. And how do we do it? Keep on learning new skills, keep on learning new methods, keep on learning the behavioral safety in your workplace. And how do we do it? Too much of lectures, too much of reading in a behavioral point of view or the behavioral safety point of view will have little impact as compared to activity driven uh, demonstrations. What it means, as we have said, the 6 pillars is that the CEO must be present when you are demonstrating, so that there is an activity, much activity driven will be there. Okay, I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
All
Actually,
right. Now going to the little more nitty-gritty, understanding brain, understanding behavior. The question may come to you, all this is fine, sir, but how do we do about it? How do we change a behavior? That is the trick, isn't it? All right. Well, it's definitely not a trick. It is a science. And there was a research carried out in UK, and a lot of work has been done on this. And they came out with 3 steps. I'm trying to make it very simple, but let's see. The first step, they call it as a stage 1. Okay, what does this stage 1 means? It takes 22 days. Okay, it's not a one-day program. Even to your child, even to your grandmother, even to your employees, even to your last man in an organization, it takes 21 days. This was scientifically proven to do a destruction. That is the first step. They call it a destruction. The second step is called an installation. It takes 22 days. And the third step is called integration. It also takes 22 days. So what it takes in total to have a behavioral change is 66 days. 66 days means around approximately how many? 2 months, 2.5 months, let us say. To bring in any behavioral change in a person, it takes, I would say, let us say 3 months to bring in change, even to a child. If your PFC is very developing and developing fast and developed fast, for a child, it could be less than 2 months or 1 month. But for an adult and who are in 20 plus, his PFC is not very well developed or not developing or don't want to develop. There are people in an organizations I've seen, they don't want to develop. So it takes 66 days. This is what the research is telling us. And when you do this 66 days, you reach a point called automaticity point. All right. Now, what is this automaticity? Automaticity is nothing but is working by itself, or with little or very little direct control, human controls. You reach that point. Again, a typical example is that you brushing your teeth, over a period of time. Nobody tells you in the morning, you just wake up, go to the bath. That means that behavior has reached an automaticity point. Uh, my granddaughter has not, for teeth brushing, has not reached yet. for the automaticity point. So somebody has to probe in, keep on telling, keep on installing or integrating that activity. But to reach that point, it takes time. For any behavioral change, it takes time. So what is this automaticity? It means that the neurons we have discussed just lately, making new connections. That means Ram is connecting with Jadu for a systematic adjustment with like cortical remapping. Remapping takes place inside it. And once that remapping is done, once you reach that automaticity point, you don't need much supervision. Just in between time, you will have to just see that this is happening or not. But that is what it is all about. But we have to bring in an organization, in your family, in your friends, in your work circle, in your environment, in your larger group, to bring in a behavioral change, you have to ensure that till you reach that automaticity point, that means bringing in the neurons, reconnecting to bring in your behavioral or your change in personality, your person has to work. And there are, as we have said, the 6 pillars has to continuously continue. Okay. Now let us see what is this destruction is all about. Destruction is nothing but let go of old routines, destroying old mindset. What is an old mindset? Is that I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, okay? Instead of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I have a mindset, there's no point waking up early morning. These are my old belief systems. So that, and old practices that I will not wear a helmet or I will not wear a safety belt in a car. So these are the old practices, destroying old habits. So it takes 22 days to destroy this. Because it's sometimes for old persons, old, say 60, 70 years person, their old practices or old habits is very difficult to break. Because again, we say that the neurons which are to be connected, which they need to talk through the snap, connecting with new target cell is not taking place. So you have to keep on working on this. And it for some person, it may be 22 plus days. But if a person really wants to change his personality, change his behavior, ability to go ahead with a new method of working, it generally takes 22 days. And when you're destroying old habits, you feel like destroying yourself. If somebody is challenging you, it brings a burden to you. Can you imagine for a contractor, subcontractors, people at that level, they feel that the bosses or the CEOs or the managers of an organization are just destroying them, making hard life for them. So it's not easy to motivate them because you are going through these stages. This is where you're bringing in a behavioral change to bring in safety in an environment. The next step is installation, which is again another 22 days. It takes 22 days because I colored that in blue because it's really messy and it's confusion and it will really drain down your energy. It drains down the energy of the person who is trying to change, bringing in a new personality. It is not an easy method to bring in this installation. So it's really, really very hard. If somebody wants to leave smoking, you can imagine they one day they will leave, the next 2 days they will start smoking 1 or 2. So it's very difficult. They encounter difficulties when they're passing through this installation stage because you're installing new behavior, you're installing new personalities, you are trying to bring in signals in your brain which is connecting to, say, Ram connecting to Jodu. That means connecting to new target cell. The more easier said, it is not so. Most of the time people just raise a white flag. Oh, I just give up, I cannot do it, this is not the way I can do it. It's very hard for me. Many persons going from the Middle East, they come back. They say, no, it's very hard. It is confusion. It is really messy to work in an environment where the climate temperatures is in the range of 50 degrees. So they just come back. So installations, behavioral personalities is very tough. So But if you continue, keep on doing it, what you are trying to do is recode into a new habit. New behavior is coming in. So new safety is coming in. Safety behavior is coming in. I would like to give a real life incident that happened. I was in Singapore and I used to about to catch a flight, which was in the middle of the night, say 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the night. So I was traveling in a taxi. I was all alone, and it came to a crossing, a road crossing with a red signal there. And the car stopped at the red signal. This is real life, and I was very young at that time. And the car stopped there, and it kept on waiting, waiting, waiting. And I was also waiting. Hey, just now he will press the accelerator and go away. And on the other side of the roads, not even a dog. Forget a car, forget a person. No security man, no policeman. Nobody was there. Not even a single soul or dog was there. Nothing on the other cross line. There was nothing happening. So what happened then when the red signal went to green, then and only then he went. So I asked him that, hey, there was no car from the other side of the road. Why did you stop? We could have gone and nobody would have checked. So this is again, he said whatever he has to say. He said, no, I don't want to break the law. If, by chance, if I'm crossing immediately, a car comes at high speed, there could be an accident. All the story he said. And I was really impressed by this. This is what he said, a behavior, a personality of that person, that to go ahead in a safe manner. So this is where, that means in terms of his safety, his neurons are directly well connected to the right cell in the limbic system of his brain. So we need to rewire this, to recode this into our brain, which is not easy. It is a tough, it is confusion, it is really messy, it will drive you hard. But it does not mean that just because you have not done it, does not mean you cannot do it. It is possible. So the last stage is an integration. Once you cross that stage, that means 44 days, the next 22 days of integration now becomes very easy. It means it becomes into an habit. That means your behavior, your personalities, your ability to work in a safe environment has taken place. Look at the picture of the cycle. From the very childhood, the habit of safety has been inculcated. So the person, when he grows into an adult, his behavior or the personality will be towards safety. Though Indians, we have been talked in Ramayana time about safety, that don't cross the Lakshman Rekha of safety. But over a period of time, it has been diluted due to whatever reason. So we have to again come up with, and these are the methods by which to bring in new habits so that your neurons, which talks through snaps, will reconnect to the right target cell to bring in a behavioral safety. So when we go into the corporate world, so this is the method. You have to observe, conduct a lot of observations. This is the last, I come to the last, it's maybe too heavy. So you have to conduct observations. If you want to bring in behavioral change, you have to tell that person, hey, we are going to observe you because you are in an organization or in a construction site, which is a lot of critical activities, lifting arrangements are taking place, a lot of risky activities are there. So we are going to observe you. You have to tell the person, tell the group to whom you want to bring in a behavioral change, provide feedbacks to them, review the goal setting, modify the environment. What it means is that if you see that environment is is too hazardous, to see that how you can modify that environment or the equipments or the systems. Then again, monitor the performance and review the critical behaviors of these persons. And this is a continuous 6 steps observation process. This has to be carried out on a continuous basis. Before you start, you will have to understand the cultural maturity and the readiness, because a lot of persons, if their PFC is not developed, ensure that they have to be developed. What is at what cultural background they are coming in, and whether they can grasp what you are really looking at it, whether they can, whether the group or the person to whom you are going to observe the behavioral program where you want to implement, whether they are ready to take it, whether they are ready to go in for a personality change, behavioral change. Then and only then it has to be incorporated. Otherwise, it can boomerang. And if it boomerangs, then it will have a very negative impact. And most importantly, definitely, you have to have gain management programs, management supports, and workforce supports. Ownership has to be taken before you go ahead for this program in an organizations. And a lot of training has to be given, behavioral training, understanding behavioral nature. How do you change personalities? I've just touched on few of these neurons concepts and all that, but there is a behavioral safety uh, training has to be given in a very serious manner, so that they understand the logic, they understand that there will be a change in personalities. And then you have to specify which critical behavior you will like to change, because person suddenly telling that you will change your personality, change your behavior, people may not like it. People may say, hey, I have this personality from my childhood. I'm very dynamic. You want to change me. I'm a very risk-taking person. So you want to change me to a lower profile person. They may not really uh, appreciate the idea. So a lot of training is required before you go ahead for this program. And then if you really want to bring in a behavioral change and logic change of that person takes place, and then the program can be implemented and rolled out. Again, as a last step for any organization, it is not a one-time exercise. It is a continuous process. It takes time. It is an iterative process. It takes over a period of time to bring in a change and to really see a change in an organization. I think I have a bit too heavy.
I think, we started with project management and we came down, zoomed into the neuroscience and the neuron bit. I think it was a wonderful topic and a great one to grasp on just 1 hour session.
I know, no, I just, to change a behavior, you need to know neuroscience.
Yeah, sure.
Without neuroscience, this I just touched a little bit of neuroscience, because otherwise, when you're giving behavioral lectures, so when you launch a program without neuroscience, it cannot. There are sessions on neuroscience. Then the person will really understand the behavior. Why do I behave like this?
True.
Why
I
do I
think if
talk to A and I don't talk to B?
yes, I think if
Yeah,
our
why do I do that? Why is my behavior? So the moment I link my connection that, oh, I can talk to B, that means what am I doing? My behavioral changes. Why? How does it change? It is my neurons that is, you call it, that is connected to that particular target cell.
true. So, if Anirban sir is listening, this topic demands a workshop. And 1 hour isn't enough for this topic to be there. It demands a workshop
No, it is
on
a serious. Yeah, sorry. Please carry on.
yes, and I think we have come to the end. And if anyone has any questions, they can have it on the chat. I'll just read it out. Uh, People have just absorbed the content so much that there isn't any questions right now. But yes, I think this demands a workshop. This is just a small trailer of what Sir has given us.
Yeah.
And this is
So,
a very
Shomali, since you are a bit new to the organization, I would like to also train you in this regard online. That CMA regularly has an event called Safety, Health and Environment, which is a 2 day workshop where we invite the industry's commissioner to come, and because they are the people who actually take us through why safety, what safety. And what Sir has added is basically a new dimension to it, a BBS, a behavioral based safety process. We may have we may definitely think of either making the event a 3 day event and adding it on, or maybe we can think of a separate event. But that's a call of the committee. Will definitely, it's very interesting to have such workshops which will help others. But let's see, new year coming in, new financial year coming in, maybe we can also have this as one of our workshops today.
Yes. So, I mean, I would like to conclude then today's members forum. I thank you, Mr. Roy. I think it was a wonderful.
Thank you for taking me in. Yeah.
I think it was a topic which many of us really we don't have much knowledge about. So we are taking back something to even think about it on the days to come. And I hope that it's a Saturday evening and I have seen like 24 people have constantly stayed and they have listened. It's a pre-holy weekend, but still people are listening. This is a wonderful thing, sir. Anyone wants to be unmuted? Just a second. Mr. Kundu, I think you can have you can chat. The chat is open. You can have a message there. If you want to say something.
Sir, if you don't mind, I'll be very. We usually have this. It's a 1 hour event, and who have joined in, we have given the event's importance and the weightage. We have already gone to 1.5 hours. Mr. Kundu, I understand. Thanks a lot for coming in. I'll just give you the last, speaking right. Just a minute. After this, Shomali will close on. Mr. Kundu would be giving the last, thanks in that manner. Just to tell Prabir sir, you talked about 66 days of behavioral based or means the change in behavior. My son is 7 years now. From 2.5 years, we have been giving him the brush in the morning. And till this day, he has not taken that behavior in. Maybe we are really lacking in that training. I'll take him to you and I'll ask you and request you to please make that change. That is very important.
What it means is that the neuron is not connected. It's not yet connected.
Absolutely, that's right. Okay. I'll just check
to the target cell.
To the target set, of course.
Yeah.
So, Shomali, you please give the right to Mr. Kundu sir, and he can give the final vote of thanks. And we'll close after he's over.
I've already gave him the right, sir. Actually, yes. I think he's.
Yes.
Mr. Kundu, are you there?
Good evening. The lecture was very interesting and very informative. I thank Prabir Roy, who happens to be staying with us in this town. And I meet him almost every day in the morning. He's a good speaker. And I appreciate. Actually, this is 1.5 hour lecture. He must have taken at least 1.5 weeks to prepare this. Very nicely prepared, very educative, informative, and interesting. I thank Prabir Roy and I thank the organizer to organize such a lecture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
sir. With this, I conclude.